Um, so, what are the kind of prayers that moves Jesus to respond? It would seem as believers who are in relationship, in union, spiritual union with the creator of the ends of the universe, that answered prayers would be something that's kind of part of our experience, right? We should be able to say that, I can see God working in this area. And I can see that as an answer to prayers. But we also know that He doesn't respond to every prayer that we ask. If we were to all just pray, God, give us each a Bentley here today, I don't know that that's going to happen, right? And now if He gives you a Bentley and you're feeling kind of a little bit generous, I know a good ministry that you can donate that Bentley to. But you know what I'm saying? That it isn't that each one of our prayers are answered the way we feel like they should, at least. Doesn't mean God's not moving. But what are some ways that we can expect Him to answer to our prayers? To move, and family and friends, you bet. And for family and friends, you bet. Well, that's what we're going to kind of consider as we look at Matthew chapter 20 together. And I've got it divided up into 3 basic sections from 29 through 34. We're going to look at the language of prayer. Then we're going to look at the language of ambition. And then we're going to finally consider the heart of Jesus when it comes to prayer. Verses 29 through 30, let's look at the language of prayer. And as they went out from Jericho, a great crowd followed Him. And behold, there were 2 blind men sitting by the roadside. And when they heard that Jesus was passing by, they cried out, Lord, have mercy on us, Son of David. So, interesting situation here. We've got a group of people, travelers, heading towards Jerusalem in the Passover. And outside of Jericho, there may be 3 days travel away from there. And it's it's a rough terrain between the 2 spaces. There's narrow roads, there's rocky places. It's a dangerous place to go. And so, who knows? These guys may have never been to the Passover celebration. Maybe this is, like one of those, I don't know if you've ever been to a marathon or watched a marathon, the Lincoln Marathon. Everybody gathers around and watches the participants go by. Maybe they're just kind of gathering there and they're just watching people go by, or not watching, but listening to the crowds as they go by. Perhaps longing to go and just can't go. They don't have the ability to get up and follow what's happening. But they hear, and there's probably a stir within the crowd, that Jesus is coming by. And they know, perhaps, word travels fast, that this Jesus is a miracle maker. He's healed and brought sight to the blind before. And the crowds are understanding Jesus to be a unique figure as they cry out in the same way, Son of David. Son of David, have mercy. This cry for mercy is something that we see within the Psalms, where the psalmist is crying out for Yahweh, God, to have mercy. So this is very much language of prayer, and it's directed towards the Son of David. Now that's a title. That's a very unique title. It's hard for us to really understand because we don't live within a monarchy. But it's a title of a king, so it's the best thing we could even consider is the idea of a president. This is somebody with an official role, an official capacity, and a power and an authority to accomplish something. But the Son of David was one promised to King David ages ago. that somebody would come from his line and he would have an eternal kingdom. And when he took his throne, and taking his throne, he would sort out all that is wrong with the world. Isaiah talks about giving sight to the blind. So imagine that, somebody who has the capacity to fix everything that is wrong with this world. That is who the Son of David is. And they cry out to him for mercy. That's the language of prayer. Helplessness plus faith. It's one definition an author makes, and it's a good one. It's this idea that I am in a helpless condition. I am powerless. But I'm coming to one who has power and authority, and trusting and asking for him to interact with where I find myself, to enter into the space that I find myself. And as we're going to see, that these blind men see a deeper truth as it relates to the reality of who this Son of David is than the crowd does. And I have the next section thinking through this idea of the language of ambition, and it may not easily be seen, but let me give you just a little insight there. Listen to the crowd's response to these two men. The crowd rebuked them, telling them to be silent. But they cried out all the more, "Lord, have mercy on us, Son of David." The crowd, and many are anticipating Jesus to go to Jerusalem and proclaim himself as king and then be enthroned. That's the Jewish hope, right? So their religion is a mix of politics and personal ambition. We need this guy to take his throne so we can get what we want. To such a degree that look what they do. They're so callously focused on their agenda that they obscure Jesus' true mission. Shut up. Hey, you, shut up. There's more important things going on here. But this king is unlike any other king. We see back in verse 28 that he came to give his life as a ransom. Jesus is not a king who exploits his advantage to lord himself over people. But that's what they wanted. They want a king who's going to exploit his power and his authority, that they might somehow then benefit from that. That might just trickle down on me. Shut up. But with that, we see the heart of Christ. His mission is compassion. In verses 32 through 34, and stopping, Jesus called them and said, "What do you want me to do for you?" And they said to him, "Lord, let our eyes be opened." And Jesus, in pity, you can grab her, touched their eyes. We got a runner. And Jesus, in pity, touched their eyes. And immediately they recovered their sight and followed him. What a cutie. That word pity is kind of hard to translate. You might have moved with compassion, had pity, but it's a language of the bowels. He was moved within the bowels. So the ancients didn't, they thought emotions related to the body, and there's a feeling. So that Jesus is moved with a deep feeling towards these men. And I think we can relate to that, where there is, you look upon a situation and just there's something within you that just kind of lets go. Kind of the air goes out a little bit of your system. And you feel. You feel. Jesus feels. Jesus feels compassion for these men in their brokenness, in their helpless state. And look what he does. He stops. He asks, "What do you want me to do for you?" He feels for them. He gets close. He touches them and he heals them. And then what happens? Look at your text. Then what happens? They follow him. That's what they've been wanting to do all along. In their blindness, in their brokenness, in their disability, in their darkness, they can't get up and follow this Jesus. And he enters into their plight, and he does a work to restore their sight in order that they may follow. Humility, brokenness, helplessness, faith. What do you want me to do for you? Now it's interesting, there's a case study of two other men just before this who he asked the same exact question to. Go back with me to chapter 20 and verse 20. Then the mother of the sons of Zebedee came up to him and with her sons, James and John. So they're kind of, she's leading the way, but this is what they want. And kneeling before him to ask something, he said to her, "What do you want?" Same question. And she said to him that these two sons of mine sit one on your right hand and on your left in your kingdom. Their want is motivated by personal ambition and status. And Jesus follows up with a lesson on humility. But in this situation, what do you want? That we may see, that we may follow. Jesus is moved with compassion and brings about the restoration needed in order that they may do exactly that. And they follow him. Where do they follow him to? The cross. This is the last part of a section where Jesus had started out with, early on in Peter, "Come follow me." Take up your cross and follow me. And they follow him to the cross. I want to challenge us with this as we begin to think through the kind of prayers Jesus answers. Are they ones that you can ask looking at the cross? Jesus, give me that Bentley. Jesus, give me self-promotion. Jesus, give me the things I want in life. Following Jesus to the cross, knowing that he's going there because you need grace, you need mercy, and that can be outpoured in full by him meeting the demand for justice for our rebellion upon himself. Jesus, make me great. Jesus, make my life great. Jesus, help all this come together the way I'd like it to come together. Jesus, help sort out my life in a way that's most beneficial for me. Or Jesus, I am blind, I am broken, I am helpless, I am deflated. Help me see so I can follow you. Big difference. In this broken state that I find myself in, not knowing how to get from here to there, lost. Open the eyes of my heart that I may see your face and know your ways and be empowered to walk in your will. Those are the prayers we should be able to go and say, yep, Jesus is at work here. I can see him doing it. Every day. These are the moment-by-moment prayers of our life that Jesus seeks to answer. What do you want me to do for you? What do you want me to do for you? In whatever place you find yourself right now, what do you want Jesus to do for you? Is it to fix it? Is it just to make it better? Is it to give you favorable outcomes? Or is it, Jesus, help me see. Help me to see so I can follow you in this place. The problem is, the wrestling match that we're going to have with this. And you see it within the early church. Let me just read to you from James chapter 4. This conflict with what I want, this ambition and pride that hinders our prayers, but is so often kind of our default. What are the quarrels and the fights among you? Is it not this, that your passions are at war within you? Desire and you do not have, so you murder, you hate. You covet and cannot obtain, so you fight and quarrel. You do not have because you do not pray about it. You do not ask. You ask, you pray about it, and you do not receive because you ask wrongly to spend it on your passions. Now you can dress it up all you want and make it really super spiritual, but at the end of the day, if your prayers are motivated by selfish ambition and God enhancing your glory and making life better for you, that your will would be accomplished in all things, I've seen people through the years turn their back on a God that they never believed in because they pray these kind of prayers. The health, wealth, and prosperity type gospel that Jesus is just a genie that needs to come through for me in the ways I want. After all, right here in this verse, he says, what do you want me to do for you? All I have to do is, yes, Jesus, this is what I want you to do. Here's my laundry list. And when he doesn't answer their prayers after years and years and years, not answering their prayers because they've got a misunderstanding of who this God is and what prayer really is, well, this God doesn't. I don't believe in this God. I don't believe in God. Well, the God you believe in never existed. Here's the prayers that Jesus responds to, that those are born of helplessness. Those are born of helplessness with the desire to follow Him. Do you get the difference? The prize in prayer is not getting all of our laundry list, our checklist, Jesus coming through for all me and all these things. And that's not to say we don't pray for everything. But the prize in prayer is the ability to follow Jesus. To see clearly, to know His will, to have a heart that is transformed in such a way that I begin to know Him and see Him and live my life for Him in whatever space I find myself in. That I follow Him, not that He follows my lead. Big difference, isn't it? You know what the most encouraging, challenging us at the end here, but here's the encouraging part. That's the prayer right now. What do you want Jesus to do for you? In whatever situation you find yourself in. If you ask Him to help you see Him, so that you can follow Him, He's going to answer that prayer. He's going to answer that prayer. So wherever you're at, whatever's going on in your life, where you go like this, I'm just lost, I'm helpless, and I need this to get better. Jesus, help me to see you so I can follow you. And Lord, that is our prayer. Help us to see you so that we can follow you. Amen.